Before we get started today, I would like to draw attention to a GoFundMe that my friend and the moderator of our Discord channel, Malcaria, is running. She's trying to raise money to visit her brother who is stationed in Japan. She's trying to raise $1,800 by May 16th. I had said April 28th previously. That's just because I don't know how to read. So that was my mistake. So she's trying to raise that much money by May 16th, which still isn't very long. And I'll include a link to the GoFundMe in the description. If you have any money at all that you're able to donate, I would be very appreciative if you would consider chipping it in to help my friend go and see her brother who is stationed in Japan. So, thank you very much for listening and donating any money if you do, and now let's get back to business. Okay, today we are playing a game on Junkertown. We are playing Roadhog on defense and Sombra on attack, and there is no SR for today's game because it is a placement game, and we are playing on the console. Consider yourself forewarned. The Xbox, it looks like. Oh, he's doing so good at remembering lately. So our current team composition is Roadhog, Orisa, Soldier 76, Reaper, Moira, and Lucio. So for once, there isn't very much to complain about. I personally don't really like Roadhog and Orisa as a combo of tanks because I just think that Orisa isn't a very good main tank, and Roadhog definitely isn't a main tank, so the two of them together, to me, it just isn't a front line that has that much presence, but most people would disagree with me on that one. So, in the accompanying email, we have two questions. First off, I didn't feel like I did as much as Roadhog. Was my choice to pick him a decent one, or should I have picked a different tank? And what about my positioning? I don't remember where Roadhog is most effective to stand, as part of the front line or behind it, so if you could clarify, I'd appreciate. It's basically with the front line, but not the front line itself, because Roadhog he's one of those heroes that can very easily just end up being an ult battery for the enemy team, so he's very good standing behind the other tank, basically, because then you can just sit there being this very threatening zone where people risk getting hooked by just being in front of you. But if you're behind another tank, they can't really do much to stop you, and you're not giving the enemy team ult charge, so you know, part of the front line, but you don't want to be, like, the front line itself, basically. Or, if you would sit further back, if the back line is being harassed by divers and flankers, because Roadhog, of course, is very good at dealing with flankers and divers. So, that's the exception to where you would be with the front line, is if the back line need protecting, Roadhog's good at that, so you would stand much further back if they're dive-heavy. As for the other one, I mean, Roadhog's fine, basically. I mean, I'd rather play a different tank, personally. I'd just pick Reinhardt. I don't like Roadhog and Orisa as a combo of tanks, so I wouldn't have picked Roadhog, but most people will tell you that Roadhog and Orisa is a fine combo of tanks. It's Reddit's, I believe it's still Reddit's flavor of the month pick for tanks right now, but I don't really care for it. I think that it's too easy to just roll over that front line if the enemy team is competent enough, but most people would disagree and tell you that Roadhog is perfectly fine to pick in this situation. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's start the game. So, let me spoil the first part of this game for you, right? We're going to be performing an illegal maneuver for about 4 minutes without getting punished for it. As you can see, we're currently fighting the enemy team in front of their spawn, which is not really what we want to be doing, but this is where our team decided that they want to stand, so this is where we have to stand by extension. Because if your team is doing something stupid, the best thing you can do is go and do something stupid with them, because if you're standing off on your own, in your own little corner, like, well, this is where I'm supposed to be standing, doesn't matter if you're the only motherfucker standing there, because the enemy team are just going to roll over your team and then come and kill you 1v6, so you gotta come and do the stupid thing with them, unfortunately. So, basically, we just do this for a while, and we don't get punished for it. We go for some very cute hook tactics where we're trying to drag them out behind us, basically. Don't bother, just, like, shoot the person. It's more important that you get, like, your shot in than just kind of dragging them an extra, like, foot or two out, basically. Someone like Zarya, you could argue it's better, but if it's someone like Squishy, just, like, get your shot in on them, because Roadhog basically still one-shots them. Like, he doesn't quite one-shot them anymore, but he still drops them very low. So dragging a 200 health target out isn't as important as just getting a really good shot into them. Someone who's if it's a tank, you know, you can argue that you'll probably need help to kill them, but Or if you're dragging them off an edge by doing the whip around, that's the other thing, of course. So now we're trying to kill this Pharah. I'll point out also that we are now dancing back and forth in front of the enemy team spawn without even actually looking at the enemy team spawn, which is not usually a good idea either. But as you can see, we persist in not being punished for our decisions, so we do eventually get punished. Takes them a while, because as you can see, they're doing stupid things, like Lucio was like, fucking let's go, I died. Farah's like, oh, let's go. That didn't really accomplish that much. And now they're trying to kill us, but we as Roadhog are still rather difficult to kill. Orisa is dead right now, so that's unfortunate, but the enemy team are still not really accomplishing very much. Just use our ult basically to quickly kill Winston, which is fair enough because we just lost Orisa, so if we can kill their tank, hopefully that'll buy our team some time to regroup. But as you can see, we then got caught in the Graviton. Now, Soldier did kill 3 people with Tac Visor while that was happening, so they still don't actually get much ground out of that, despite that looking like the moment where we're gonna get punished. We did get punished, but we don't get punished for that one because Soldier killed half their team, which usually evens things out a little bit. So I don't really like that we come around this way, because if the enemy team sees us, and you know, like, you can argue how likely this is, but you should always play assuming the enemy team is going to play well, right? If the enemy team sees us coming out of this doorway by ourselves, or this passageway as Roadhog by ourselves, if they see that and respond correctly, they will pin us in this corner and fuck us to death, basically. Now, that's not what happens. They, in fact, don't notice us just walking up behind them, so we don't get punished for that. But, like, Roadhog has this really big buffer with Take a Breather where it's hard to die, but if you're out of position, like, you're still out of position and you're still probably gonna die, us walking that way by ourselves is really easy to die if the enemy team actually punishes you properly. And as you can see, we didn't get punished properly, but you should always play assuming the enemy team is gonna play well. Any play that revolves around the enemy team playing badly is itself a bad play. So their Pharah just wasted her ultimate right there. They've got 1 team fight left, and, you know, I was watching this through, like, this is a fucking long-ish game. Like, we clearly don't just hold them here the entire time, and I was like, how the fuck do we lose from this position where they're almost all dead right now? And the answer is that they now have a Reaper, and Reaper puts in a lot of work during this particular section. We miss Reaper right there. If we didn't miss Reaper, this probably goes differently, because then this whole chain of events spawns. Reaper's already killed somebody. Then we try and hook Mercy right there. I would rather try and hook somebody squishy on the ground, because Mercy's hard to hit with hook, and honestly, Mercy using Valkyrie is very difficult to kill in general, unless you're playing Soldier or McCree and you've got your ultimate, right? So it's usually better off just trying to burst somebody to death on the ground, because Mercy's healing isn't, like, outrageous, right? You can kill somebody through Mercy's healing. So it's usually better to try and focus and burst down a squishy target, rather than try and kill the Mercy yourself, unless you are one of the people very good at killing Mercy. So as you can see, we now lose this checkpoint because they all suddenly decided that they remembered how to play the game right at the last few seconds. Punished Squog over there did indeed just get punished, so I don't know what a Squog is, to be fair, though. Hold on. What's a Squog? I'm gonna type, God knows what this is gonna... Squog. No, that's not how you spell Squog. Squog. What's a Squog? Ah, it's the Stone Age Squidward. Of course. I remember now. A ska punk band is a decent name for Lucio, actually. Oh god, that's much too loud suddenly. Fucking audio drivers. Okay. So, we shouldn't be fighting over this right now, because we're probably just gonna die. And, that's exactly what happens. And us dying, we're a nice, big, spongy target for them to get some ult charge off of. Soldier's wasting his ultimate over an objective that we've just lost, which is not exactly the Epic 2 Wolf 13 Pro. I see. Yes, of course. Console. What's his name? I'm Not Stupid 44. Well, we've been doing something stupid for a really long time, so that name doesn't ring true somehow. So, they have a Mei now, as well, which is inconvenient for us as Roadhog, because Mei herself can just kind of bully you around. She'll never kill you, but you're also unlikely to ever kill her, unless barring, you know, outside interference. Fortunately, we can just kill Orisa right there. We do almost have our ultimate, and now is a decent time to use it, but I'm afraid of getting hooked by the enemy Roadhog, because, you know, the whole point of Whole Hog is, like, I'm not feeling very good about this team fight, so I'd rather we just call the whole thing off, really. And I'm not feeling very good about this team fight, so I'd really rather call the whole thing off. In fact, I'd probably just use Take a Breather right here, to build up this last little bit of ult charge, and then just start ulting them back. And you can try and kill them as well, like it's a decent position to pin someone in the corner and fuck them. We decide to use our ult, like, way later in the team fight. I mean, you know, fundamentally it's kind of doing the same thing, but I would like, you don't want to hesitate, right? Like, it was a decent opportunity to use Whole Hog anyway, so you just want to use it sooner rather than later, basically. Which is true of almost all ultimates and abilities, really. If you see an opportunity to use one, just go for it, rather than hesitating. This is the principal difference between, like, low SR and high SR, is they're both honestly both giant trash heaps of games, but, like, the difference is the high SR game is people just commit to their bad decisions way quicker, right? Whereas in low SR, there's a lot of, like, dancing around, people are unsure what to do. High SR is like, no, let's just fucking go. Let's just go and see if it works. So we've actually lost this checkpoint, and we're still fighting over it anyway. Like, we don't want to be fighting out here. The whole point of Junkertown is really to wait for the door to close, and then try to pick a fight with them right after that. Because if you can stall the payload right in front of these doors after they're closed, they don't have great ways to approach anymore. They just have to come out of the very narrow openings. Instead, we're fighting them still in the street after we've already lost the checkpoint, so they just kill us, and now Soldier's gonna waste his ultimate again. Fantastic. Epic 2 Wolf 13 Pro is really tearing it up right now. He's our duo, and that's the worst part. So, at this point, I would definitely change off of Roadhog, because at this point it's become exceedingly difficult to play Roadhog, because, you know, you can't really consistently do much about Pharah. Mei's inconvenient, and Reaper fucks you up. Other Roadhog, it's like, you know, whoever hooks first is probably gonna win, and, like, their team is way more punishing to get hooked by. So, at this point, I would not keep playing Roadhog. At this point, I mean, at this point, it's kind of difficult to say who the better tank is. It's probably Zarya, because you can stop Mei from killing people, you can stop Roadhog from killing people, you can stop Reaper from killing people, and then if you ult this team, they don't have very many ways to get out of it. Moira can get out of it, and Mei is gonna, like, Mei can freeze herself and all that, but, like, she's dead, he's dead, and these two may be dead depending on their cooldowns. And you can save people from their bad mistakes. And this team, the enemy team, is very good at punishing people for bad mistakes right now. I would probably also just still play Reinhardt, because also now, on the other hand, right, you look at that team, if we can get back on that, looking at that team, because it's so helpful to see things that we're talking about, they don't have a shield anymore. So if you play Reinhardt right now, this is an extremely easy Earth Shatter to land, because these boys are all just going to basically be standing next. Well, Reaper might be off doing his own thing, but these people are all basically going to be right next to each other, and they've got no shield in front of them, so, like, the only way you're going to get blocked is if Mei blocks you with her wall, which is not exactly a consistent Earth Shatter. So, and you can still, like, fix people's bad mistakes as Reinhardt, and, like, it's such an easy Earth Shatter to land on those people. Also, this checkpoint just doesn't really have any cover on it. Like, this checkpoint I find very obnoxious to defend, just because it's kind of just like there's a really long hallway with a curve in it, so it's very inconvenient. So, Roadhog is not good at what we're trying to do right now, which is flank, because Roadhog himself can't really consistently one-shot people. You can if you're really good, but, like, you know, not really. Reload before you hook somebody if you're low on ammo, because we didn't need to ult to kill Moira if we just reloaded before we hooked her. And we did have time to do so. Like, we didn't get punished for what we did right here, but we should have done, again. Roadhog is not good at flanking people, because he himself is not consistent at one-shotting people. And if they just collapse on you, you die, right? And if you're trying to flank them as Roadhog, you almost certainly don't get back to safety, right? Here we just used Take a Breather way too late. We could have probably gotten out of that one if we used it a little bit sooner, but we also shouldn't have gotten hooked, which is the more direct problem right there. So now we do change to Mei very briefly. As you can see, there isn't very long left in this round, which is why I didn't feel the need to include Mei. We also have Pajame as our skin, which is, of course, probably the best skin you can get for Mei. Well, no, the Chinese New Year skin is also really good. So now we're flanking as Mei. Mei is also not really very good at flanking, but the enemy team have proven that they aren't very good at stopping flankers, I suppose, so there's that. And as you can see, our Reaper has just spanned and killed most of their team. Soldiers using Tac Visor, which has killed basically just Moira, but like they're pretty fucked at this point. Things are not looking good. They got Tracer bouncing around on the payload. She's dead now. She's only got to get hit by like one thing from our team and it's all over. So now we have finished the defending section and we're going to play Sombra now. As you can see... Video editing. Ooh. We've got the very bad Sombra skin. I understand, like... Her hair is just very stupid looking. I know it's also like Rihanna's haircut, but like, it's a stupid looking haircut on Sombra, okay? I'm sorry to tell you, it doesn't suit her at all. So as you can see, this half of the video is way shorter than the other half. So either we stomp them, or we get held right here. There actually isn't enough time to get held right here. So that kind of spoils the answer to that one, doesn't it? I was gonna build up the mystique on if we get fucked or not, but then I realized that's not 4 minutes. So, you know, never mind. I can do some basic math. So if we're gonna come out stealthed as Sombra, we really don't want to go out the front door. We step on the trap, which is just like the epitome of sadness that we can suffer, but like, it's just so easy to get hit by any incidental damage as you come out the front door. So if you're going to come out stealthed, you really want to go out a side door, basically. So we use Translocator really aggressively right here to try and kill somebody, basically. Which I'm not adverse to in theory, but it's Moira and Junkrat, both of whom are quite difficult for us to kill, unless they're hacked. And we're jumping right on top of a Junkrat who is very good in close range, so... You know, I'm not opposed to using Translocator aggressively, but the choices of targets that we jumped right in on are very scary. So we're now trying to bully this McCree, but he got bullied before we even got there. So, what I will say about it, our Sombra so far, is that we haven't really put a very high emphasis on hacking people, and usually hacking people is the better choice as Sombra. This has gotten harder after the nerf where you actually get punished for being interrupted now. But usually hacking people as Sombra is more impactful than just shooting people. Here, you know, like, hacking Roadhog is a really good target to hack, but unfortunately we didn't get interrupted? We didn't get interrupted because it went, he gets pushed past us, fair enough. Unfortunate, because Roadhog's one of the sadder people to get hacked, but now we can hack D.Va instead, who is also very sad. Tanks in general, no tank likes playing against Sombra, that's just a universal consistency. No tank likes to play against Sombra. Roadhog's now being bullied as well. Very few heroes like to play against Sombra. Even the ones that counter Sombra, like McCree, don't really like to play against Sombra. Now we're gonna bully this boy to death. The change they made to Sombra's gun, I think, is very underappreciated. Because now she only has, like, a slightly worse weapon than Soldier, right? Like, Soldier's weapon is better than Sombra's is, but now hers is only a little bit worse. And especially, like, close range, it's arguably better. Because it's a more rapid-fire gun than Soldier's is. Very shotgun-esque at point-blank range. But the trade-off is that for having a worse weapon, she has a way better utility in hack. I've seen a few people now just kind of playing Sombra similarly to how you would play Soldier, and just really emphasizing, like, fucking over the enemy team's tanks and, like, fucking them up when they're trying to engage, and then just kind of playing like Soldier in the interim period. So we go for the Emp right here. We do hit a great many people with it, but our team haven't really capitalized off of it. And the principal issue for that is that the enemy team is very far away from them right now. Like, they have to go a distance to actually get to the enemy team. This is an important aspect to Sombra. Your team have to be able to capitalize on Emp, otherwise Emp does nothing. So you have to make them all being together. This is a really important one to bully right now, because first off, bullying Lucio just feels good, and we see he has sound barrier, so there's a good targeting. Them being together is only step one. They also have to actually be in a position where they can collapse on the enemy team, and our team were quite far away from the enemy team when we decided to use Emp, and our team isn't exactly mobile, right? So they're not gonna get over there immediately to capitalize. As we can see, this has not mattered even a little bit, but your team being together isn't the only... What the fuck is that particle effect? What is that? Is that Mercy's? I mean, it must be. Like, why does it look so weird? Whatever. I think I was midway through making a point. Whatever. You know, it probably wasn't that important, honestly. So here we see Reaper getting play of the game. Oh, yep, here he just slides in and spins. Gets interrupted very quickly, but that's kind of already killed the important people by that point. Difficult life. Oh, God. Oh, no. Don't play my own video. Jesus Christ. Let's see what we've got today. We've got a lot of my own videos. So the website knows how vain I am. PTR dev update, Mercy's old voice lines. So there was a PTR patch, by the way. They've rebuffed Lucio's wall jump because people were losing their fucking minds over it. So, you know. Blizzard have no spines, by the way. Complete fireworks show from Thunder. Okay, I don't know where the fuck that's come from. Legendary victory and retribution is Genji. I hate Clash of Clans a lot, so this is very poorly aimed. Aiming guide. Oh, look at that! Look at that segue. And this is probably because I once watched an Elon Musk interview. So it's like, fuck it, space. Who cares if it's Spanish? Space. So I can't really think of an overarching point for that one, other than don't flank as people who aren't good at flanking, because we tried that one a few times as Roadhog, and didn't get punished for it as much as we should have done, but we should have gotten punished more for it. It's just the enemy team were bad, as evidenced by the fact we got to sit outside of their spawn for a while and just sit there, basically. It's one of those games where even though they gained a bunch of ground towards the end and got, like, close to the third checkpoint, I'm coming into that second round like, the enemy team are actually very bad. Like, did you see what happened at the start? They're very bad, so I would still feel good coming into the next round. And as we can see, we rolled right over them, so they were indeed very bad. So, anyway. Thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I answered your questions from the email inadequately, please let me know, and I will try to expand further. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us, and I hope you found the video helpful.